Hello, it's Karen Burniston here with an assembly video for one of our die sets. This is die number 1223, the Wide Woven Basket Box Card, and you can check out all of our die designs at karenburniston.com. Okay, let me first explain the difference between our two woven basket box card die sets. So the original is die number 1080, and that's the woven basket box card that makes the small square basket, and that includes the vines, the grass, the handles, the flowers, all of it. What the wide woven basket box card die set does is add the wide panels so that you can use that in conjunction with your original woven basket box card, and then you can make the double wide basket. So you'll use pieces out of the new set and pieces out of the original set. Your other option is to use the wide woven basket box card on its own to make a large square basket, because it does include the wide sides and the weaving strips and the long pieces of grass. An optional add-on would be the BAM box pop-up. So this is a little rubber band powered box, and it is small and works perfectly in the corners of your woven basket box cards. And when you add those BAM boxes in two opposite corners, then you can have the basket self-open. So definitely optional. You certainly don't have to add BAM boxes to the woven basket box card, but when you do, they do self-open. Okay, the first assembly I'll show is how to combine the two die sets to make this wide woven basket. So for the short sides, I'm going to use the woven basket box card die set, and I've die cut two sets of weaving strips. And then from this die that cuts the sides of the basket, I just need the half that has the tab attached, but I need to do that twice. So to save cardstock, I can definitely have the portion of the die that I don't need hang off of the cardstock as I'm die cutting, because I really only need to capture that one side with tab attached. And then any section that was die cut that goes past the score line, I can just trim right on the score line. So I just folded it so that it's easy to see, grab my scissors, cut off the excess. But I do want to leave the tab attached on the other side. And now I'm going to repeat that process to get a second one. Now I'm going to switch to the other die set, to the wide woven basket box card. It comes with 4 pieces. The 2 that I'm using for the structure of the basket would be the weaving strips and then the basket sides. And I need 2 sides and 2 sets of weaving strips. You can use any die cutting machine that can accommodate a wafer thin die. Today I'm using my Spellbinders Platinum 6. And for the weaving strips, it's going to cut 2 pieces at one time. So one that has 4 prongs and one that has 3. There is a die in the set that will cut a long strip of grass with tabs on both ends, and I have cut 4 of those. So after working the fold for each side's tab, then I can use those tabs to connect the pieces together, and I'm just going to alternate between the long sides and the short sides. So the adhesive goes on the tab, then I just line up the edge of the next side with the score line. Now, I like glue for this. I'm using my LINECO neutral pH adhesive in my fine tip bottle. We do sell both of those items on our website. But any strong, dries clear glue would work great for assembling the basket. So once I have all 4 of the sides put together, that last tab is going to bring it around and connect it. Now, I typically don't do that until I've done the weaving, but that's basically how it's going to work. But for now, I'm just going to stretch it out in front of me so that I can do the weaving of each side. Okay, so for the wide sides, there is the 4-prong piece, and that's the one I'm going to start with. And I am going to bring all 4 of those prongs under the first slat. And then I'm going to go over the second one and then under the third one. So I'm just weaving this through. And if you've done it correctly, then the ends will end up inside the basket and the bottom will line up perfectly with the bottom edge of the side. So I can slide that up for a moment while I add my glue, and then just slide it back into that adhesive. So the only place I'm really using adhesive on this piece is along the bottom, and then I'm just aligning it so that it's perfectly matched up with the side. Okay, then when I go to a short side, I'm going to switch to the 2-prong weaving strip. So the 2-prong weaving strip, and I'm doing the exact same thing. Goes under the first slat, over the second, under the third, over the fourth, and then the ends end up inside the basket. Once again, I slide it up so that I can add my adhesive and then slide the end back down into that adhesive and just aligning it with the sides and the bottom of the piece. And then I just have to repeat that exact same process for the other two sides. So 4-prong piece on the wide side and 2-prong piece on the short side. And these are just the bottom weaving strips. And then I'm going to switch to doing the other ones from the top. Okay, so starting with a wide side, I've got that 3-prong piece, and I basically want to weave it opposite to the strips that are already in there. So that means I need to get it underneath this strip here and then across the top of the next one. So usually if you can get the 3 started, then you can kind of push it until they're close to the next one. Okay, bring it back a little bit because I just want to be able to lift up that thing and then pop those in. Then I'm going to carefully push it until it approaches the next one, and then pop those to the front again, and then just carry on that way until I can get them to the bottom, and then the strips will end up inside the basket again. And then the top is going to just come down and just align up right across that first section. And then there'll be extra that will fold over and into the basket on the back, and then that will also pin down the ends of those weaving strips from the bottom. What I like to do is just bend that section back so that I have access to the top of the basket to add my adhesive. And then I just align that into that adhesive, and that will attach it to the front of the basket. Then I flip it over, lift up the flap, add my adhesive all over that flap, and then press that to the inside of the basket. So that completes the weaving for one of the wide sides. And then now I'm going to switch over to do the short side. So that one's just the 1-prong weave. And that one's pretty easy to do because you're only dealing with one little strip as you go through. So again, you're just weaving opposite to the strips that are already in there so that you get that cool basket weave. Then you're going to lift that up, add the adhesive all over that top section, and then press that into that adhesive. And then the excess is going to fold to the inside of the basket and glue down. And then all I have to do is repeat that process with the other wide side and then with the other short side. So this would be the time that I would normally connect the basket together, but actually you do have the option to add the grass strips now. You count down to the 3rd row from the top, and you'll see that there are 2 little weaving strips that you can slide the tab of the grass under. So what you do is you point the tab towards the back of the basket for the back one and towards the front of the basket for the front one. And then that will give good spacing on the grass. So basically for the grass, you add them to the short side, and then the tab on the front grass points towards the front and the tab on the back grass points towards the back. Okay, but let me take those out and then put them in permanently because right now there's no adhesive on those tabs. So what I like to do is just add the adhesive to both sides of the tab. That's definitely something that you're going to want glue for so that you are able to actually slide it back into place before the adhesive sets up. So I'm going to slide that under the weaving strip and then just until it stops, and then just give it a good press so that that tab is now hidden under that weaving strip, but also glued into place. And then I'm going to do the same with the front one. Okay, so now the grass strips are in, I can actually connect the other side of the woven basket to that tapered tab on the other side. So that's just going to be a matter of adding my strong adhesive to the tapered tab and then connecting the other side of the basket to it. Okay, so now I have my grass strips ready to attach on the other side. So I'm just going to basically repeat the process. So however the tabs are on the one side is how they are on the other side. So again, the grass that's in the back of the basket, the tabs point towards the back. The grass that's in the front of the basket, the tab points towards the front. And then I just add adhesive to the tab and slide them under the weaving strip. Okay, so that's the double wide basket. It has 2 suspended grass strips in it. And then what I like to do with the other 2 strips of grass is trim off the tab and a little bit of the side. And that just makes those grass strips a little bit shorter, has them fit a little bit nicer inside the front edge and back edge of the basket. Okay, and now this is ready for decoration. Now what I did is I just put on a podcast and I grabbed all of the flowers and vines and handles and everything out of the woven basket box card, and then also the tiny flowers that come included in the wide woven basket box card, and then I just cut and layered a bunch of flowers. For the handles, you just attach the ends to each other, and then that will put a little bit of a bend in the handle. And then what I like to do is weave that again into the basket on the side. I usually choose the middle spot right here with a little bit of glue, then just get that handle in. So those are, of course, optional, but just kind of a cool look. So again, you just take your glue and you attach the ends of the handle to each other, and that will put a little bend in the handle itself. Now, what I decided to do for the vines was to cut them out of a green glitter cardstock, but it was a little flimsy, so I actually cut them out of a thicker green cardstock and glued the two together for durability, but then I just didn't attach the bottom stems together yet so that I can actually glue those straddled around a piece of grass for the ones that are suspended, and that will give it even more durability in the finished bouquet. How you build your bouquet is, of course, completely up to you. I started with 8 vines and put 2 on each row and just kind of staggered the locations and angles. And from there, it was just flowers, flowers, flowers. I just added flowers all over the vines and the grass in all the different rows. I put some on the front, just however many or few flowers as you would like in the bouquet. Typically, you can fit a wide woven basket box card if the bouquet isn't too tall in a 5x7 envelope, but check both ways for flattening it, because sometimes one way of flattening it is actually a little bit more envelope friendly than the other. So it just kind of depends on how you built the bouquet. For a greeting, I am using our hello die set. That includes the word hello and the shadow. I'm gluing that to the front of the basket. And then as a place to write a personal greeting, I'm going to layer 2 of the shapes from the BAM box pop-up. Those will fit on the back. And then I can also embellish with any of my leftover flowers. If you'd like to have your basket be self-opening, then you can assemble a couple of BAM boxes. There is a separate assembly video for those. Now, that BAM box fits perfectly from the bottom of the basket just to the underside of the grass, but it's close. So if you'd like to have just a little bit more wiggle room, after you've assembled a BAM box, just take the scissors and trim a little bit off of both sides. So it's just going to be a shaving because you don't want to cut your rubber band. And you can see where the rubber band is there on the 2-hole side. So you've got just a little room to take a little bit off of each side, and that will shorten the BAM box so that it fits a little bit, I guess, with a little bit of extra breathing room inside the corners of the wide woven basket. Okay, and then as for how to glue it into the corners, choose the side that has the 2 holes further apart. So you can see these 2 where the holes are further apart. That's the corner that you would like to glue inside the wide woven basket. So I'm going to add my glue to both panels of that side. And then I have a preference for which way my wide woven basket is going to fold down. I want it to fold down the way that's the skinnier so it fits in my envelope. So I want it to be in this back corner over here on the back left, and then, just getting it in and matching the angle of the basket. So the basket, kind of angles outward. So just have your BAM box, both sides, just fit kind of in that corner. And you'll see that the diagonal is pointing out towards the other end of hello. So it definitely has to be pointing, the diagonal crossbar has to be pointed to the opposite side of the basket for it to work. And then now it's going to fold down in that direction that I prefer. And it's only going to be that direction. And even just one BAM box would do it, but you'll have a little bit more spring if you add one in the opposite corner as well. Once again, you're going to choose the corner that has the 2 holes that are further apart. And then you're going to just get that in the opposite corner. And again, the diagonal needs to point towards the other one. So the diagonals have to be going in the same direction on the 2 opposite BAM boxes for it to work. And then once you have those BAM boxes in, your basket's only going to collapse in one direction. So that's why you need to pick your direction when you choose which 2 opposite corners that you put the BAM box in. So I chose the way that it would collapse down and fit in my A7 envelope. Okay, so then when someone pulls that out of the envelope, it is going to automatically expand into that basket shape. Now, as with any rubber band pop-up, they can get a little stretched out when they've been flattened for a really long time. So if you're going to store your BAM box woven basket in an envelope, that's fine. But before you go to send it, I would suggest that you get it out and just leave it open on the table for half a day or so. Just let those, rubber bands kind of shrink back up so that you get the best spring when they pull it out of the envelope. So just kind of an added but optional bit of fun to add those BAM boxes in the corner, but of course it's also a wonderful little keepsake even without the band boxes. So obviously the two dies together work really well to make those double wide baskets. And then of course you have all of the flowers and vines and handles and things from the other set. But you can also just use your wide woven basket box card on its own to make large square baskets. And then when you do that, you can fill them with whatever other dies you have. It doesn't have to be the flowers and vines and things from the other set. Okay, so what I've done here is connected 4 of the wide sides and then done the weaving on all 4 sides. And now I'm going to flip that over to the back. Once again, I've cut 4 of the long grass strips. So I'm just working completely within the wide woven basket box card die set. I'm not using anything out of that other die set. So for this assembly, all 4 of the grass strips are going to be suspended. And once again, 2 of them are going to have tabs pointing towards the front, and 2 of them are going to have tabs pointed towards the back. And I'm going to use the same row number 3, to add those strips. Now, in this case, it doesn't really matter which one that I choose to be the sides of the basket. They're all the same. So for whatever reason, I just chose this second one, but it could have been any of them that I was choosing to be the side of the basket. So then I've got the first one in, and then the second one. Once again, I'm going to bring those tabs towards the front, and I'm going to slide it into the second set of weaving strips. So basically there's 4 sections to add these grass strips. And I'm doing 2 pointed towards the front and then 2 with tabs pointed towards the back. And by doing that with 2 tabs forward and 2 tabs back, you're going to get nice spacing on those 4 grass strips. It is not identical spacing, but it is a good spacing for making a nice full bouquet. Okay, and then once those 4 strips are in, then I can use the tapered tab to connect the other side of the basket. And that's just the same as if I were doing the double wide. Connect those basket ends to complete it. And then the final step is just to add glue to the other tabs, the ones on the other ends of the grass strips, and then slide them behind the same corresponding weaving strip as the other side. And now my big square basket is ready for decoration. I think it's fun to do themed baskets, so I'm going to do wine charms and cheers. So that would be a great accompaniment, maybe with a bottle of wine, to someone who is a wine lover. Once again, I just put the band box labels on the back to be able to write a personal greeting. And because I didn't make the embellishments too tall, that flattened basket will actually fit in a number 10 business envelope. So a slimline envelope is perfect for the big square baskets as long as you don't make your embellishments too tall in the basket. Now, I chose not to put band boxes in the corner of my cheers basket, but I certainly could have. So you can absolutely add those band boxes when you want to make them self-opening. So if you have both woven basket box card die sets, you can combine them to make the wide baskets, or you can use just the wide set on its own to make the large square basket. I love to end assembly videos with some inspiration by our very talented design team. This Happy Birthday All-Star wide woven basket by Sue Small-Kreider features band boxes in the corner, our sports charms, and then she also left the fold-over flaps up at the top so she didn't fold those into the basket. This wide Easter-themed basket is absolutely adorable from Jen Webster. Sandy Diller made a large square basket in a Hanukkah theme. Sandy also made this gingerbread Christmas-themed basket. Frances Byrne made this wide woven basket as a teacher thank you gift and filled it with our bookworm die set. Suzanne Smith had a similar idea and used the wide woven basket with the bookworm to celebrate the end of term. Karen Aiken with a beer-themed wide woven basket. And I love how Nikki Foden embellished her Christmas bouquet with ribbons. And finally, this stunning Christmas basket by Sue Small-Kreider with a light-up church. The wide woven basket box card die set is available now at a lot of your favorite local and online retailers, as well as from our website, KarenBurniston.com. Thanks for watching. If you click on the website link, you'll go to KarenBurniston.com, where you can purchase these dies as well as find links to our other social media accounts. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel and check out some of my other videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.